Welcome back to my next playthrough series. This time we're heading back to the battle for Greyport. And I'm doing the revised, the interrupted party scenario, which came with the expansion, which is the battle for Greyport Pirates. And so I've added in, like there were 20 new cards for heroes and 20 or 10 or 9 or 10 new cards for items. So I'm going to quickly zoom down here on the interrupted party. This is kind of the overview. I've basically set everything up. I won't go over the setup per se because I've already done a couple of playthroughs of Battle for Greyport. So we're just going to quickly look at interrupted party, and then I think we might as well get right into it. We'll take a look at our two characters, of course, and the Greyport City Hall to begin with. So let's take a look at the interrupted party. All right, so this is the revised the interrupted party that came with the expansion I just showed you. And the difficulty is easy. They've revamped it. So we're going to start with 10 hit points each. The original one had you starting with 8 hit points, which made it much more difficult. And in the original game, you didn't have the ability to heal in between locations, but we're going to be using the heal 2 hit points in between locations. So we have beasts and brutes. So for the first scenario, I've set everything up. We're just using the beasts. When we get to location 2, we'll be shuffling in the brutes. All right, we win when we defeat Drog and all other monsters, and we lose if any one player is reduced to 0 hit points or fewer. So our encounters now, there are 3 encounters. Originally there were 2. So now it's City Under Siege, Melee at the Market, Save the Ale. And with City Under Siege, we have Greyport City Hall. Then we have the Market District for Melee at the Market, and then Save the Ale, the Red Dragon Inn. It says, you and your adventuring companions have just arrived at the Red Dragon Inn to celebrate the success of your latest heroic adventure. Your celebration will have to wait, though, because the evil Drog has brought a small army of marauding monsters to attack the city. Yeah, okay. Now let's take a look at our 2 characters. I'm using one from the expansion, Bryn the Boatswain, and I'm using one I haven't used yet, Chronos the Time Mage. Let's take a look at them quickly. And so here we have the new expansion character called Bryn the Boatswain. And he's just a brawny dude with a big wooden mallet. And he has no special abilities to start with. Everyone has a 9-card starting deck, and they have their little picture in the bottom right-hand corner. So his first 5 cards that he drew is Deckhand. He has Deckhand 3 times, and he has Ship Mage twice. Okay, so that's going to be his starting hand. And attached to him, he has a Warg, and it had the ambush ability, which basically meant you attach another Warg from the monster group to him. He's going to be our first player with the taunt token. He has 10 health, 2 silver coins, 2 copper coins. And I guess really quickly we can have a look at the during a round, so I'll let you read that. Things you can do, and then ending the round. We'll be following this, of course, as we play. All right, that's Bryn the Boatswain. Let's take a look at Chronos the Time Mage. And here we've got Chronos the Time Mage. And yes, they're level 1, 2, and 3. He does have special ability. He rolls a yellow die for attacking. Oh, and I should mention, Bryn rolls a white die. You saw that in the upper left corner. We have 10 hit points for Chronos the Mage. And his attack ability says, you may re-roll yellow or white dice used in this fight. You must keep the new result. So he basically gets a re-roll, which is pretty awesome. The yellow die, the white die, I should say, is just a 1 to 6. Yellow die has a 1, 2, 2 2s, 1 1, 2 3s, and a 4. So it's kind of weak. Then we get to the green die, which is the more powerful one. It has an 8 on it, but we don't have any green die rolling abilities yet. All right. His starting 5 cards, he's got an Acolyte, a Soldier, an Acolyte, and the Chronometer, which lets him roll a yellow die. Cool. So and you can see bottom right corner is his portrait. He has attached to him a giant boar doing 1 damage, and he has a Quill Beast, which is ranged, so he can't attack the Quill Beast until the giant boar is out of the way. So this Quill Beast kind of hangs around the background. I'll just put it a little bit higher up, so I try to remember that as I'm playing. All right, let's look at the Greyport City Hall and the monsters besieging that, and then I think we'll take a look at our 4 heroes that are up to be purchased or recruited are 4 items, and then we're going to begin some gameplay. And I hope this is going to focus well enough. So we have the Greyport City Hall. It has 11 health on it, so I'm just using dice. I'm using dice, not the tokens that come with the game. And it says when a player recruits a physical card, I did this wrong the very first playthrough, physical cards are the red ones. The blue cards are not considered physical cards, they're like magic cards. So the red ones are physical cards. When you recruit a physical card, you may use Snipe 1. Okay, there's a giant cobra attacking the city hall. When giant cobra deals damage to a player, that player puts a curse on top of their deck. Ha, not good. And we have an armored worm. He has 1 shield to deflect damage, 8 health, does 1 damage, ambush. The player this is in front of discards an item. Well, it's in front of the Greyport City Hall, so that ambush ability didn't take effect. All right, let's take a look at our starting lineup of heroes that can be recruited and items to be purchased. And then I think we're going to begin with Bryn, the Boatswain. And once again, I hope this is focusing well enough. So we have a clergyman rolling a yellow die. And a player of your choice draws a card when you play him down. Recruit him for a copper. We have a fire mage, splash 3 damage, rolling a yellow die. We have the assassin, a yellow die, plus 2 damage, a silver to recruit. And the assassin ignores tank, ranged, and monster armor. Wow, that's pretty cool. And then we have the eagle eye sniper. Doesn't do any damage on his own, but when you play him, you recruit him for a silver. You may discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, snipe 8. Wow, that's a huge snipe ability. Items out for purchase. The Holy Relic gives you a shield 1, copper to buy, and it actually does 1 damage as well. The Mace doing 5 damage, silver to recruit. The Attenuating Ring is draw a card. You get to play an extra hero. Does 2 attack. That's pretty awesome. That is a copper to recruit, and Circular Focus. Attack. After you fight, you may retire a card from your hand or discard pile. So this can help you thin down your deck so you can cycle to your much better cards, costing a silver. All right, with that said, let's begin. We're probably going to do 1 turn Bryn, 1 turn Chronos this episode, and we'll call that intro and episode 1. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to go over the rules per se. Now, each hero on every turn gets to play 1 hero card. So right now, Bryn can play any one of these cards if he wants, because they're all heroes, or he can play himself. And I think he's going to play himself because he's the most powerful, which means he won't be using any of his cards this turn. So we'll call this the play area here just to the right. This is draw deck. This is his hand. I try to keep everything sorted. So he's going to play himself. And then we're going to go over to Chronos and see what Chronos is going to play this turn. Chronos will likewise use the right-hand side here to play. Now, if he plays himself at the end of the turn, he's not going to be able to refresh himself when it gets to his turn, if you follow the logic of how the game works. So I think he's just going to play an Acolyte, and each hero can attach 1 item. So he's going to play an Acolyte with the chronometer attached. So that's going to be that. And so this is his hand. And of course, when he plays these cards, they're going to get discarded, and he will have less cards on his turn. But that's what he's going to play. So he's playing an Acolyte doing 1 damage, using the chronometer, which is a yellow die. And his special ability, you may reroll yellow or white used in this fight. You must keep the new result, but I believe you can only use this if you're playing yourself, because that's your special ability, so it's not going to apply to rolling this. Okay, now we only can attack the monsters in front of Bryn, and Bryn has the taunt token, so he can bring a monster from Chronos' area over to him if he wants at any time. During his turn, but I don't think he's going to. I think we're going to go ahead, we're going to roll the yellow die and add 1 to it, and we're going to have Chronos the Mage is going to be attacking the first warg. So let's hope he can get 5 damage, and he rolls a 3. 3 and 1 is 4 damage. So let's go apply the 4 damage to the first warg. Okay, and how I'm going to use damage. I'm not using tokens, I'm using dice. So I'm going to take this die and we're going to put it on the first warg. That was 4 damage. That came from Chronos the Mage, using his Acolyte and the Chronometer. Unfortunately, it didn't kill this guy. He has 1 health left. And now, if our hero here just played a deckhand or whatever, shipmate, would have done 1 damage, would have killed it. Now, Bryn has to decide, rolling the white die, which of these he wants to attack. Now, he can also taunt, which means he would flip it over. He can bring a monster down from City Hall, which at this point we're not going to bother, or he can bring over one of the monsters engaged with Chronos. And he's not going to do that either. So he's just going to roll the white die, and we're going to see... he may as well... Oh man, if he attacks this guy and takes him out, he's going to attack the damaged warg, guaranteeing getting rid of him. And he rolls a 5. Should have attacked this one, would have killed it. Anyway, he does attack this one, adding 5 more damage to 9. This warg is out of here, is destroyed. Now, that's the end of this warg. He goes into the discard pile, which I'll have to figure out where I want to put that. All right, and that now, so play a hero, 1 per player. We've done that. Play an item, 1 per hero. We did that with Chronos. Fight an active monster or a location monster if there's no active monsters. The defending player may use the round marker to taunt a monster. So we've covered all that off. We got rid of one of the wargs in front of Bryn. And now we look at our little handy-dandy card reference here, ending the round. When the round ends, follow these steps. Monster damage. First, the active monster deals damage. Okay, the active monsters are the monsters in front of the active player. The active player is Bryn. Bryn is going to be attacked by the 1 warg for 1 damage. He's going to go from 10 health down to 9. So he's taken a bit of damage from the 1 remaining warg. Now the location gets dealt damage from monsters, so let's take a look. All right, and our location has 2 monsters on it, the giant cobra and the armored worm. So 1, 2 damage. We've gone from 11 damage and now our 11 health. Now we have 9. And this just says when the giant cobra deals damage to a player, not a location. So this effect does not kick in. All right, and continuing on, so now we have the cleanup phase. So we would resolve any cleanup abilities. We don't have any, so we're going to, both players discard their cards, discard any shield tokens. So I'm just going to zoom right out, and we're going to have the cleanup phase happen for both characters at the same time. All right, so we have Bryn here. He has used himself, so he's going to be exhausted. So we would be discarding this card into the discard pile, but because it's the hero card, they don't get discarded. And because it's the hero's Bryn's turn, you refresh at the end of your turn. So what that means is he's basically good to go. He's refreshed himself, and this is still his hand of cards. And now we're going to discard now, though, for Chronos, the Acolyte, and that I just put it underneath the draw deck to designate that. And that's all we do for the player whose turn it isn't. And then we recruit for the defending player. So our defending player right here, I know everything's kind of, probably should have been more to the left. He has 2 silver and 1 copper, so let's go up and see which card he wants to recruit. And recruited cards go into your hand, not your discard pile. So let's see what he wants to. And I think Bryn, the Boatswain, is going to spend a silver coin, and he's going to recruit the Eagle Eye Sniper. This guy is really awesome. When you play him, you may discard 2 cards from hand. If you do, you get Snipe 8. That is super duper powerful. That goes into his hand, and yes, we immediately replace the card. You can only recruit 1 card, and you must. Ooh, and we get a new card from the expansion, a Sea Witch Doctor. Rolling a white die, choose a monster and play each other monster in the chosen monster's group immediately deals its damage to the chosen monster. All right, back to Bryn. All right, so now we go over to Bryn, and his hand now has 6 cards in it. You're only allowed to have 5. He can discard any number of cards and draw up to 5 cards for the active player, which is Bryn. So he will discard. He will discard 3 of his deck hands and 1 shipmate. That's only going to leave him a shipmate, ship mage, and the eagle eye sniper, which means he gets to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3, refill up to 5 cards, and it only happens for the active player. And so the 3 cards he gets is a wand of magic missiles, a deck hand, and a ship mage. So these are the cards now in his hand. And to end off the turn, is the taunt marker goes to the next player with the taunt side up. So this is going to pass over to Chronos the Mage. And so we're going to end off this episode for today with Chronos the Mage taking a turn. Okay, so I brought Chronos the Mage closer to Bryn the Boatswain so that you kind of do a turn simultaneously. Chronos the Mage is, though, the first, or not the first, he's the active player at the moment. Now he gets to play a card, and he is going to play himself. Because all he has left is an acolyte and a couple soldiers. So he'll be playing himself, rolling a yellow die, and having his abilities happen. And so he will be playing himself. And we are going to play the Eagle Eye Sniper for Bryn the Boatswain. He can play a hero. He's playing this one, which is going to be pretty awesome. And then we're going to have to decide here in which order we are going to play these cards. And I think we're going to start with the Eagle Eye Sniper for Bryn. So I'm just going to kind of exhaust him. It says you may discard 2 cards in your hand if you do. So he's going to discard the shipmate and the deck hand. It's going to go to the bottom of his deck. That's where I keep the discard pile. If you do, you get Snipe 8. For Snipe 8, he's going to snipe the Quill Beast. The Quill Beast only has 6 health. The Quill Beast is killed by the Eagle Eye Sniper. So Quill Beast out of here. Up next, of course, Chronos. Chronos is going to attack the giant boar. He's going to roll his yellow die. He gets to re-roll it, though, if he wants. He rolls a 3. That's as good as it's going to get. He's not going to re-roll that. So he's going to end up putting 3 damage on the boar. All right. That's basically Chronos playing himself. He will refresh at the end of his turn. And so following on, now we're going to get to the end of the round. So this monster is going to deal damage to Chronos, does 1 damage. He is also going to go from 10 health down to 9. And up after that is going to be dealing damage to the location, so let's go ahead and do that. And once again, we have the giant cobra and the armored worm hammering on Greyport City Hall, doing 2 damage, 1 for each. Greyport City Hall is now down to 7 damage. And when we get rid of the monsters on this location, each player may immediately recruit a card from the reinforcements. They must spend recruitment coins as normal. So when these guys are here, we don't get the benefit. If we lose this location, each player is going to lose a hit point. All right, back to Chronos, back to our heroes to continue the turn. All right, so we discard all played cards. So Bryn has to discard this one, and Chronos is going to discard himself, but he refreshes. He is the active player, so we're just going to refresh him anyway. And then we have recruit for Chronos. So let's go up. He has 2 silver, 2 copper coins, and let's see what he is going to recruit. And I already forgot, when Bryn recruited the Eagle Eye Sniper, this is a physical card because it's a red card. According to the location, when a player recruits a physical card, that player may snipe 1. And so, damn it. Anyway, screwed it up, but we're going to snipe the giant cobra. Giant Cobra has 1 damage. All right, now let's recruit for Chronos the Mage. All right, Chronos the Mage has 2 silver and 2 gold. He is going to spend a silver coin. He is going to recruit the Assassin. The Assassin is very awesome. This is a physical card, so we're going to get the snipe again. Let's not forget. The Assassin ignores tank, ranged, and monster armor. This is awesome. That's going to go into his hand, and we're going to replace that card with the first mate, Remy. Ooh, that's a gold card. Now, it can stay out here. It's just we're not going to be able to recruit him. And you don't put gold cards. If you get gold cards in your initial layout for the scenario, you just put them back in the deck and reshuffle. So he can stay out there. We're just not going to be able to recruit him for a while. Okay, with that done, we get Snipe 1 now for Chronos the Mage. And Chronos is going to use his Snipe ability as well for the Giant Cobra. The Giant Cobra now has 2 damage on him. Back we go now to Chronos to finish off his turn. Alright, so Chronos' hand now has 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he can discard any number of cards. I think he's going to discard 1 of his soldiers. That's going to leave him 3 cards. And then he's going to draw 2 cards to get back to 5 cards. And the 2 cards he draws is an Acolyte and a Soldier. So he has his Assassin he just recruited, 2 Acolytes and 2 Soldiers. And that's going to be his hand. Alright, I'm going to zoom out, and the taunt marker now is going to go back to Bryn. He will be first player when we come back in our next episode. So I'm going to zoom out, and we'll recap for the episode for today. Alright, that's it for Battle for Greyport today. We're doing the Interrupted Party revised version from the expansion. We're playing with Bryn the Boatswain, Chronos the Mage. They're both down to 9 hit points. That's not a big deal. We got rid of a Warg, got rid of the Quill Beast, so we still have 2 monsters attacking Greyport City Hall. So when we come back, we're going to begin again with Bryn the Boatswain. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, your subscriptions, and likes. This is Greyport, Battle for Greyport. I really do like this game, so I hope you join me for the rest of the playthrough. Shouldn't take too long with the introductory scenario. So thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.